Ult generators in Overwatch. Heroes who have one purpose, pressing Q. It doesn't matter what else they do, as long as they can press Q once they have their ultimate and they can get their ultimate quickly, that's what makes them valuable. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me give you a few examples, because ult generators are, I think, a problem this game has yet to really address in an effective way. Remember old Genji, 8-second Dragon Blade Genji, before his ult charge rate was nerfed to the ground? You know what good Genjis were able to do? Generate ult fast and use it effectively. They didn't necessarily get kills, they didn't necessarily get elims, they got their ultimate fast. Now, good Genjis managed to do both of those things as well, getting kills and elims, but the main purpose of Genji was to get his ult fast. Ana is another ult generator. Before the nerfs, and even still now, Ana's ult charge rate was absolutely insane. It was the fastest in the game by far, and you picked Ana for that reason. Now, we've also come to discover that there are other reasons Ana is OP, but originally people were like, yeah, let's pick Ana, let's get the first ult of the game, and we'll just win it. We'll snowball the whole game from there. One more that is actually still prevalent today, Mercy. Mercy isn't ever really seen in high-level play for this reason. She's only picked for her ult, and her ult is way more easily countered than these other ult generators' ults, like Nano Boost and Dragon Blade when the game was first released, were both harder to deal with than a Mercy Res. Mercy Res can be dealt with by preventing it. It's much harder to prevent a Nano Boost or a Dragon Blade because you don't really see them coming. Mercy, you see coming. You see, alright, we're killing a lot of their team. This is gonna happen. On top of that, there's really no skill required with Mercy, and I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean, like, alright, let's be honest here. Who's harder, Genji or Mercy? Genji took a degree of skill to get his ultimate, and you really had to be good with Genji to get your ult quick, and that defined Genji's. Mercy is just like, alright, let's heal some people, fly to different people, maybe throw a damage boost on them. Not nearly as hard as Genji. I know I'll get hate for saying that, but I don't think that's an argument you can really make. Genji is harder than Mercy. Now, the problem with this is Blizzard doesn't really know how to balance ult generators' ults. In the past, we've seen that every ult generator they've created has been completely unbalanced, either ridiculously overpowered or complete trash. There's literally not been someone in the middle. Original Genji, OP. Original Ana, OP. Even our current Ana, OP. Right now is Mercy, underpowered. Sombra, which you may not know, she generates her ult super fast when you hack health packs, underpowered. There's no ult generator in the game that's really balanced. Some people would even argue that Soldier 76 is one of these ult machines or ult generators. I don't agree with them, but even if he was, it would just reinforce my case. He's pretty overpowered. So what does this all mean? What have I been talking about for 3 minutes, wasting your time on, before actually getting into the video? Well, I think ult generators or ult machines, whatever you want to call them, don't have a real place in Overwatch, because clearly so far Blizzard has not been happy with these ult machines. They really haven't been. They've either been completely OP or underpowered, like I said, and Blizzard has really just hated them. They've even nerfed all ult charge rates. Remember recently they nerfed every single ultimate charge rate in the game, so it charges 25% slower. They clearly hate heroes that just try to get their ultimates. They want a lower, slower paced game with less ults. This is totally fine, and I agree with this. I do not like just having to rely on ultimates for every single team fight, because admittedly the game before that huge nerf used to feel like that. Which ults do they have and which ults do we have? And some fights honestly were not determined by skill, but by which team utilized ults better. And I guess that is an essence of skill that does take skill to coordinate, but in the end, sometimes it would be like, alright, this next fight, we have literally no say in what happens. They have Graviton Surge and, a Dragon Strike. We literally can't do anything. And that happens much less now because ults are charging slower. So that's good. They have the right intentions in mind. But there are some consequences and some things I think should be changed if you're actually going to make this change. I think Blizzard took the first step, but they didn't really follow up with it. They lowered the charge rate on ults, but then didn't do anything else. They were just like, alright, yep, that's fine. That's fine by us. We'll just leave leave it like that. What that's done is really pushed out heroes that relied on their ultimates, obviously, out of the meta a lot more than they should have been. Heroes like Mercy, who were already weak, are now even weaker because of it. Heroes like Genji, who were once picked in a lot of games, very fun heroes to watch, are now never seen, not nearly as much, because, well, you know, if your team doesn't have a great Genji, if your team doesn't have Shatter 2K on it, why run Genji? Because even Shatter 2K is forced to switch off of Genji more often than I would like to see, and he's like the best Genji in the world. This is actually one of the big reasons we have the tank meta right now, and the meta that I've been complaining about, and I mentioned in every single video, because people now just build their teams around, all right, what can give us powerful ults, and what can allow us to survive powerful ults? And guess what the answer is? Tanks. Tanks are beefy enough to survive some ults, and they don't need ults to really play the game, honestly. They don't. Roadhog isn't picked for Whole Hog, I can assure you that. D.Va isn't picked for her self-destruct. These abilities are good, yes, they do enhance the tank's kit, but that's not the reason they're picked. Earthshatter may be an exception, but I mean, with Reinhardt's shield being so powerful, I don't even know. The point is, all of the very powerful assault ults, the heroes that are the DPS ults that are powerful and impactful, are now being seen a lot less because you get them so slow. But ever since this change, the DPS heroes haven't really seen any buffs to really do anything about it. Like they still perform the same way. So with ults charging slower, who's going to become more powerful? The heroes that rely on their ults or the heroes that don't? Clearly the heroes that don't, the tanks. So what do I think needs to be done about this? Well, let's take a look at someone like Genji, for example. Genji is, I think, the prime example of this case. Seriously. He was the original ult machine. He was the powerhouse on teams. A good Genji could definitely carry games. And while I don't necessarily want to see one hero stomp an entire game, I would like to see a little bit more power in Genji's kit to make up for the fact that he can't do that anymore. I'm talking like maybe more damage on the shurikens, more damage on the swift strikes, or something a little bit better with deflect, because when the hero's hit kit is entirely based around one thing, and you take away that one thing, it's not going to be a good hero anymore. Believe it or not, I think Ana got the right treatment when they nerfed the charge rate on her ult. They actually increased the radius on her grenade, which is now OP in an entirely different regard, but I think the idea was right. If you're going to nerf a hero's ult, give them something to compensate for it. Give Genji some more damage on his shurikens. Actually let him brawl with other heroes without having to rely on the fact that the other hero can't aim, because I can assure you at higher ranks, people can aim, and a good Genji versus a good soldier, a good D.Va, or any other like meta hero, or even not meta hero, Tracer and McCree can both 1v. Everybody can 1v1 Genji, is what I'm saying. And Genji isn't the only one with this problem. I just think they need to reevaluate ult charge rates and how effectively they want these ults to really factor into a kit. Because if an ult is someone's entire kit, well, that's a problem. And if an ult is none of their kit, well, that's another problem. And to even further this point, you can use McCree and actually even Reaper as an example. McCree's ult is just not good and not worth using. And when you have someone like Soldier who accomplishes a similar goal to McCree, but also has a very valuable ult, well, Soldier is obviously going to be better. Reaper is a little different. Death Blossom is still good, it's not been changed or anything, but there's something holding it back. Yes, Nano Boost was nerfed, so it no longer gives a speed boost, but that's not really what I think is holding Reaper back from the meta. It's actually D.Va. D.Va's defense matrix counters all of Reaper's ultimate, 100% of it, because she can just, negate it. And when that's a thing, Reaper's not going to be picked because a huge part of his kit has been taken away. So you can't really put that much power into someone's kit, and you can't really rely on ultimates at the same time. So I propose two changes that Blizzard makes to really help solve this problem, maybe get a little bit better balance in the game, end some of these ridiculous metas we have. And, well, the first suggestion is an obvious one, and it's make sure the hero's kit and their ultimate are both good. We can't have a hero that just has an ultimate and no kit, or a hero that has no ultimate and a kit that's really stacked. You can't really do that. That hero is not going to be balanced. It's going to be so hard to balance that hero without fixing that problem. And on top of this, I think Blizzard needs to make some basic abilities less universal for stopping ultimates. For example, D.Va's Defense Matrix. It doesn't take any skill to use, and it counters, I'd say, at least half of the ultimates in the game. Sleep Dart is a similar case. It's a little bit harder, I'd say, to use, so it doesn't need to be toned back as much, but it's still like, alright, the enemy team is ulting. If I land a Sleep Dart, that is completely negated a lot of the time, especially if it's a self-ult like the Tac Visor or Genji's Dragon Blade. I guess it doesn't really work against stuff like Graviton Surge or projectile-based ultimates, so in that regard, I guess you could say it's a little bit more fair, but I mean, it's still a really crazy ability, and I think that should be toned back a little bit. To further show that these are not balanced, you can look at them in comparison to Sombra. Sombra is meant to be a disruptor, stop and prevent ultimates, yet D.Va and Ana both on their own stop way more than Sombra could ever hope to stop, and she's meant for this. So hopefully you see what I mean when I say that ults should be a little bit more valuable, I guess. If you're gonna get ults slower, it should be definitely a lot harder for you to counter them. Like, you shouldn't just be able to right click as D.Va or shift click as Ana to counter them. Now, I know these abilities will always be in the game most likely, and there's not much they'll do, but I think, you know, some tweaks definitely can be made in that regard to help, help the ultimate cause out. But anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below. And I've also been told recently that likes do not matter at all. Like, YouTube does not, they don't even care about them. So leave a like if you want to. Like, you don't feel obligated to, but if you do, be sure to hit it an odd number of times. What you should do instead is click this video you see on the screen right here. I know you're gonna enjoy it, and I can say that with confidence because YouTube actually picks what video goes there, and it's gonna try to pick a video it thinks you're gonna like. So let's test YouTube on this one. Click that button, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Lone Hawk out.